One of those guys was actually trying to save another person's house while his house was burning down.
Did he know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awful.
But he put the job first. Service before self.
That is the epitome of what it is. Service before self.
Yep. Captain Dwayne Hughes.
Oh my goodness. That's a mic drop moment on that one. I love that.
Yep.
Most people think about firefighters in the moment, the fire, the chaos, the pressure. But the truth is, those moments are shaped long before they happen. They're built through preparation, discipline, and the habits you practice when no one is watching. Today's guest is Spokane Valley Fire Chief Frank Soto, a leader whose career has been built not just on responding when things go wrong, but on preparing people to be ready when everything is on the line. His path is about trust, responsibility, and understanding that when pressure hits, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of preparation. In this conversation, we talk about leadership, readiness, and the small things most people overlook that can determine how you perform when the moment finally comes. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for jumping on here with me today, Frank. This is going to be amazing because I'm sitting down with the Spokane Valley Fire Chief, Frank Soto, who's breaking our tables, if you didn't watch that. And he's smiling right now. But I wanted you to come on and talk about trust and being a leader and what the fire department is. And I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for A, what you do, and B, wanting to be a guest today.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me. I can't speak for myself because, I'm up in an office now these days, but the men and women of the Spokane Valley Fire Department, both the firefighters uniformed and our ununiformed civilians, they have put this community first, and they always put this community first. And I've never seen anything like it, like just the bond that we have with our community. It's incredible.
Well, and I want to say that Spokane has broken up into Spokane Valley, right? And so, yes. But you're still kind of Spokane, and you're also Liberty Lake. Is there bridge communication with all of those departments? Are you that close, or it's specifically just the Spokane Valley?
Well, we do, since we are a fire district, and I know sometimes you see Spokane Valley Fire Department, and you think we're only working with the city of Spokane Valley, but we're not. We have three cities: City of Spokane Valley, City of Liberty Lake, and the City of Millwood. And then we also have unincorporated parts of Spokane County, like Paradise Park. We have Otis Orchards and Green Acres.
So it's quite expansive.
We have 145,000 plus citizens that we serve, 75 square miles.
That is, and then you had mentioned earlier that there's 10 stations that are under you.
10 stations, yes, sir.
Man, that's crazy. Okay, well, before we get into that, how did you get into this work, and how did you become the fire chief?
Here specifically, when you say the work, do you mean as a firefighter or do you mean as the fire chief?
As a firefighter, give me the 30-second round, let's call it, and how people can understand what got you onto this trajectory to then become the fire chief here in Liberty Lake or into Spokane Valley.
So I got in the fire service. It was career day at college, and I was going through each one of the booths, and there was the fire department. And I honestly hadn't thought of it, and I wasn't interested in it. And my wife's probably going to yell at me when she hears this.
This is the Cobra?
The Cobra. but she knows it's the truth. The way they got me was I was on my way out, and the guy goes, "You know what? It's a great place to meet chicks." And I turned around and I said, "Sold, brother. I'm in. Sign me up." And that's exactly how I got signed up.
No way.
I'm not lying. No.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know anything. I thought firefighters just fought fires.
Sure.
I didn't even know about emergency medical services or anything else.
More than one lane.
Yeah,
within
I thought
fire
it was
department.
just strictly fire department. Just fire only. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Do you find that you get a lot of recruits through college recruitment or is that still a big thing? Like, is there a young you out there right now who might want to become chief one day that you would say,
I hope so.
You should go to those?
I hope we have, I hope a lot of our young people want to be fire chief. I don't hope they want to be me. They need to be themselves.
Sure.
But I do want our next leaders, within the department to come from the department. There's something about having that institutional knowledge, the buy-in, the love, the understanding of our community. All that matters. And so I definitely want somebody, and I know somebody wants it.
Sure.
I mean, there's 200 of us, so somebody has to want to.
And this is kind of moving fast-paced, but have you noticed that a lot of the men and women within the departments, are they locals or do people come in? Like, do you promote within and then like, oh, I live in Liberty Lake, so I want to be a firefighter at the Spokane Valley? Like, is that what happens?
Both.
Okay.
The bulk are from here, but we do have because we throw out that search net everywhere. Back when I came in the fire service, and I'm really dating myself here, but 30 years ago, there was thousands of people that applied for each opening. And today it's not the same. I can't put my finger on it. I mean, I can a little bit, but the service before self, it's not the same as it was in yesteryear, and I don't know why it transitioned away from that so badly. So now, like, we're doing pretty good if we have 400 candidates for 20 spots.
Okay.
And 30 years ago, that would be like 8,000 candidates for that many spots.
That's interesting you say that, because when I was growing up and looking, I wanted to be a police officer, or I wanted to be a CIA secret ninja agent, right? But it was like, you look at those potential careers in the future, and you're like, what is the selection process going to be like? And I remember so many of my friends in high school and college, they tried to get in and they were denied, or they didn't make it through the selection. So is the selection process still as difficult, or is it easier, or obviously is there a different talent base that you're kind of finding?
That's a great question. I can tell you ours is hard.
Yes. Well, and you guys, everyone there is top notch.
They are. Let me tell you, I'm looking for more than a pulse. We're sending you into people's worst day of their lives, worst case environments. There's no other job out there where John and Jill Q Public allow you, just a stranger, to walk into their house.
Yeah.
Walk up to them in bed and say, help me, and ask for that help. It is it's quite a bit of responsibility. And so when we're hiring, we want the very best. I mean, wouldn't you? Who do you want working on you? The doctor that got through with the C- or the doctor with the A+? I want to provide our community with A+ firefighters. And so because of that, we have a fallout rate a drop rate, if you will, of 35%, which is way higher than the national average. But it's because, we view this.
Standards.
This is a life. Lives are at risk. That's the job, and so I can't put somebody in there that's average. I'm not looking for average. I'm looking for the first in, last out, the person that puts their community first, the person that's mentally tough and physically tough. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, well let's pause on that for a second and dig a little deeper, because when someone comes in and they're applying to be a firefighter, I'm sure there's a long process, and there's like you have to do all of these requirements. But then when they start going through the training, you're probably not the person that's in the room with everyone. You obviously have a team of teachers and instructors that go through that. But when you do finally walk in, can you point at the people that you're like, that is someone with more than a pulse and who is going to go that 3 to 5% more for the people that need the help?
It's hard. It's hard to do that now, because our training division, and part of my trust to my personnel, and I say mine, but it's our community, our personnel, is I let them make those decisions, and I stay out of their way. The last thing I want to do is be the chief that's in the way of
the micromanager.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I want to. I trust them, and if they make a decision and they say, "Hey, chief, we need to go this way," then I said, well, then let's do it. I'm not going to question you. That's why I hired you. If I was going to make that decision, then I wouldn't need you, and we need them. So our training division is second to none, and they really vet these guys before they get in the department. So even though it's still high, you could sit there and look at our guys and go like, man, these men and women look pretty tough, and it sounds terrible, but you think about like some of these professional teams, right? You look at them and you go like, man, they're loaded. Like they have like 8 basketball starters, and that's kind of how we have it. Some of these people that we drop, they could be starters on other teams, but there's just not a starter on our team.
Wow.
I want the best, and I'm only after the best. And that's attitude too.
Yeah.
Attitude plays a big role. If you're not a team player but you're still, you're a phenomenal athlete out there, I don't want you. I don't want you. Firefighting is a team sport.
Yeah.
Everything we do is in twos. Specifically in regards to response, 2 in, 2 out. Everything's 2 in, 2 out. You're a team. You're a unit. And so if you can't work with everybody else, then I don't want you.
Yeah. Well, because lives depend on it.
Absolutely.
Right? Well, that's reminded me of as a dive master and a scuba diver instructor, it was like you don't go alone. Right. You always have to have someone at your side. Right. And so when you walk into a burning fire or you walk into, let's say, a room that you don't know what the controllables are because you could see someone there. Why are they there? Right. Is it because they were in a shooting accident, the person's still in there, or you're just running to help them? So you need that backup. Absolutely. And you do want the best. Is there a selection that all of a sudden let me ask you this. After they've become selected, is there an attrition rate afterwards? Or once they get in, they're like, this is my home, this is my family, and this is rocking?
So let me answer it with this.
Okay.
When they get off probation, then they can feel that way. Up until the day of them coming off probation, they can be terminated. They're at-will employees. And yes, if your next question is have we terminated people up to the last day? Yes, we have. Because the probation
allows it.
We're vetting them.
Yeah, 100%.
We need to see you. It's like I'm watching the animals in their real environment. I'm watching. We're watching. We're always watching. And I tell them, we're always watching you. What you're sworn members of the fire service. What you do in uniform and out of uniform matters.
Oh my God, I love
Absolutely,
that.
It matters. So
when they're through their probation, have you found something that maybe they don't realize could terminate them? Like, is there something that seems to terminate most people? Is it like, for example, in Seattle with the police departments, a lot of the attrition rate happened because they couldn't figure out the address. Right. Because it's not a grid, right? It's not north-south like Spokane is. And so it was like it circles, and it's like the hardest problem most of the rookies had was just even getting to the location in a timely manner. So is there something that weeds people out very quickly?
In the academy, I don't know, maybe it's through the whole thing, it's mental toughness. That's and I'll tell them that. I'll tell them, listen, on the first day of the academy, I introduce myself, and I basically give them the do's and don'ts, and here's what's coming. And then I'll tell them, listen, I'm going to give you the answers to the test. Here it is, mental toughness. If you quit anything here in a controlled environment, you're going to quit out there.
Ooh.
And I can't have quitters. We can't have quitters. The men and women to your right and left depend on you. Our citizens depend on you. You can't quit. So a lot of what we bring to them, we bring the suck.
Yeah.
And we want to see who can handle it and who can't. And
while putting them into that forest environment or the jungle environment.
Absolutely.
Like you've seen how they work.
A lot of it is repetition too. And you start to see, you start to see who is dialed in, and everything they do, their patterns are the same, and it heads towards success. And then you have others, as they do it more and more, they get sloppy because it's like, oh, no one's really watching me right now. I'm just go through the motions. I've been doing this every day, but we're watching, and it matters. And so attention to detail matters. And so
especially in a life situation, right? It
Absolutely.
really does. It could be seconds onto somebody else's life. And you really tap in. I love that you said that, because it's like, it is when people act the way that they act when no one's watching them, that's who they really are. Right. And
integrity.
100%. So obviously you look for that, you put them into the environment and you put them through the suck. And when they come out of probation, then they can kind of, okay, but it doesn't mean stop.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we're fully engaged to continually communicate and work with them. But think about like anything that you become, right? You do a certain level of training or whatnot to get to a place. And what people forget is some people go, I made it, and now it's time to be complacent and relax. And it's not. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Okay, so you and I were talking earlier about karate, right?
Yep.
And when I failed my black belt test, and I eventually got my black belt, and I thought when I became a black belt, it meant I was a ninja and I knew everything. But I didn't realize that was the basic understanding of the fundamentals. And from then, you learn different things. And it's like, once you become a firefighter, then you can master medical side. You could do house. I mean, there's so many different things that you could continuously learn, and it's just the foundation for you.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that right there. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump on that. When I first got in, like I said, I thought we just fought fires. Yeah. And it would shock you today. I'd say most people think we just fight fires. Sure. And we don't. That's like the smallest thing, one of the smallest things that we do.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing, right? Most of the things that we do are emergency medical services, but most importantly is we're an all-hazard agency. People call 911 for the craziest things, and sometimes it makes you laugh. Yeah. Sometimes it makes you cry, and sometimes it just makes you shake your head. But people call 911 for anything. And our job, we may not always save a life, but our purpose is to be there in a timely manner and provide mitigation or sometimes just a shoulder to cry on for people. And that's the job. But we're an all hazard agency. Anything that you call 911 for, we're coming.
What is a stereotype that people get wrong with firefighters? It doesn't have to be Dalmatian related.
We have a pretty dark sense of humor. I'm not going to lie, we do. And the only thing I could think of is we have. You kind of just develop it as a coping mechanism. That's kind of how you. I don't know how else to explain it, but we kind of, it's part of the way we decompress, and it's
like a compartmentalizing items.
Well, we don't want to, right? And so we kind of like throw a joke out here or two, and then everybody kind of jokes and laughs about it. And when I say dark humor, I mean like literally like previous calls or things of that nature. And, people forget that we're people. Yeah. We're people too. Yeah. We have kids and we have families and parents and brothers and sisters. We have everything you have. But but we usually aren't the ones calling 911, if you will. We're the ones responding for 911. So it's just a little bit different, but dark sense of humor.
Is there something that a 911 call that has been most impactful to you that you've made such a difference or one of your firefighters actually did that you're so proud of, that you're like, man, that is a standout job and everything went perfect? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. everyone. There's always a limb that breaks for the cat or something.
It just got quiet there, so I thought I'd jump at that. I can't name one. For me, the biggest stuff that stands out to me for me personally, like I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff, but for me, the big ones, and I don't know why, I can't explain it. When someone's house is burning down, excuse me, is on fire, and our guys are in there, and I love this, especially here at Spokane Valley Fire. The service to our community, right? The customer service. People don't understand firefighting is part of the customer service business. It really is. But seeing our guys take the care to try and not damage their stuff. So there's primary damage and there's secondary damage. Secondary damage is what comes from the fire departments, and we really try to limit that. And more importantly,
AKA like breaking a door down if it didn't need to be broken down or something. Okay.
Well, and sometimes it does need to be broken down, but it is the secondary damage. But what I love to see is when I see them bring out one of the kids' dolls, or bring out a painting of grandma that grandma painted, or a picture of the family, and they hand it to the homeowner who's usually standing there in their nightgown or whatever sleepwear they're wearing, and just to see them, sometimes they're crying a little bit, sometimes they're just kind of in awe of the moment, but you give them that, and it's like a happy tears, and you see that you really impacted them. And our guys, they do that. And I've never taught them that.
Yeah.
I've never seen us teach them that. I think we have a level of older firefighters, experienced firefighters here who have done it, and the younger kids, to their credit, have, I call it the monkey see, monkey do, and they've done it, they've bought into it, and they do it, and so everybody does it, and it is a huge. I can't explain it. You just look at the homeowner, and you could see just the I don't know, like relief and just like, thank you. It's cool.
Well, and
it makes me proud. Absolutely
100%.
Proud.
And that is something that you can't capture on video, or you
I don't
can't
want to
talk
capture
about it. Right. It's like, it's a feeling or an emotion that is felt between the two parties or the group of people.
Absolutely.
My mom's home burned down when she was a kid, and she always says that was one of the hardest things she's ever gone through in her life.
Oh, yeah.
Is losing everything. And like to have someone be there and understand how important that doll was, or an heirloom of some kind to bring out. I mean, that's all you have sometimes.
Yeah, 100%.
When people are going through a fire, and we talk about earlier about like the do's and don'ts of things, what is something that you would suggest people definitely not do if their house is on fire? Like if you're
stay inside.
Don't stay inside.
Don't stay inside.
Get out.
Okay.
Take as much stuff as you can, or run out.
Just run out. Okay. Run out. If we can't put it out and we're still able, we'll get your personal stuff out that we can get out.
That's nice to know.
Yeah, our priorities, whether you're here or any other fire department in the country, we have three of our priorities are obviously life saving, life safety, property, saving property, and then incident stabilization. So, our goal obviously is life safety first. Protect lives, and then protect property, and then stabilize it, mitigate the incident itself. So part of that is sequenced off of our risk assessment, right? We risk a lot to save a lot. We risk a little to save little. We risk nothing for what's already lost. Mm-hmm. So we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars training firefighters, and they're not expendable. Yeah. So life safety includes our own. So. Yeah. But if we can go in there and pull out as many items that we can see, right? Well, we all have homes. Mm-hmm. You know where all the pictures are, right? When you come in, and some of the cards and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And so we know, like, hey, man, we're losing it. Just grab what you can and start running out with it. And we'll do it. And that's part of property conservation. That's that's our priorities. That's what we're trying to do.
And obviously, the world seems like it's coming to an end for someone who loses their home, or you're in that situation. How do you console them on the spot? And is it a long process? Like, do you continuously stay in contact with people who have lost their homes or buildings or whatever?
I would say not really. Like, I mean, we have like after the fire stuff, or we'll call over chaplains. Sometimes we'll stay with them. We'll have one or two guys just stay with them and talk with them and make sure they're okay. But we don't. I mean, some of that is we're still working, but generally we go through insurance at that point if there's any questions, or they work through our prevention division with our investigators, fire investigators. They may continue that conversation, but I will say that a lot of times they'll reach out and say, "Hey, we'd like to thank you guys."
Okay,
and we're like, "Awesome,
we love that.
We love that." People don't understand how far a thank you goes.
Oh.
And in the fire service,
you're speaking my language here, Mr.
Nobody does it for the thank yous, and we don't expect to hear them, and you don't hear a lot of them, but when you do, it means a lot. Like it means a lot. Like I get it. People always come at me. They're like, "Well, that's the job you asked for. That's the job you wanted. You chose that profession." Yeah, I get it. But that doesn't mean that I chose for people to shoot at us or disrespect us or, treat us poorly. We're not choosing that, So I think it goes a long way. It's huge. Yeah.
Well, so earlier we're going to be right back after a word from our sponsor.
After a car accident, insurance companies will take every shot they can to leave you with nothing. But at Dubin Law, the game isn't over until you get the money you deserve. So call Dubin Law and add us to your roster today.
It's huge. Yeah.
Well, so earlier you had mentioned that when you come out with that doll or that heirloom, it makes their day. Mm-hmm. And so obviously to reciprocate that back when someone comes to the station and says, "Thank you." You've done this for a few years,
right?
Okay. Have people reached back out later and said,
"Oh yeah,
you saved me," and maybe you didn't know what a difference it made to them, or you helped save a life, and now they're a doctor and they save lives or something like that. Is there a story that hits home for you that someone has come back later and shared their appreciation towards something you did?
To me personally, no, outside of the initial a month or two after, not necessarily a long-term save. That has not happened. But I came from a harsher environment city than here. So the love here, they love on us here, and we love right back. So the community often wants to come in and see us for saving a life. And listen, even though we want our save, for CPR, our save rates were the highest in the country in 2022, I believe it is, and we won the IAFC national award. We haven't dipped down a lot from that. A lot of times what I'll tell my guys is they're like, "Hey Chief, look at our numbers. We can win it again."
Yeah.
And I generally go, "No." I go, we did win it, a couple of years ago, but you know what? Let's let another community go after it. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't, we know who we are, and we know what we bring to the game.
Well, and you don't need the thank yous. You already mentioned that, but they feel good.
We save, 32 out of 100 people we save. 32 out of 100 people with heart attacks we bring back to life. They go to the hospital, they go home, and they live their lives. And that's still one of the highest in the country. And so there's a great deal of pride in that. So we get a lot of feedback from people going, "Hey, we want to thank you."
Yeah.
We'll take it all day long and twice on Sunday. Bring it. We love that appreciation.
and it's well deserved. I mean,
it is. It is our like I said. This isn't me doing this stuff. This is the men and women of the Spokane Valley Fire Department that are just they go the distance to try and save a life, and that includes our community, right? So we don't get those great numbers just because of the firefighters. We get those great numbers because our community, through like Pulse Point, have bought in. They've bought in and said, hey, this is the safest place to have a heart attack in the U.S. is right here in the Spokane Valley Fire Department's response area. And so they see somebody who's in need, they go help. They see somebody that needs CPR, they do hands-only CPR till we get there. They call 911. I wish my family would, instead of calling Uncle Frank or
call 911.
or Dad, call 911. So yeah, absolutely. Our community is part of that. They're part of our success. Yeah. Absolutely. They get the chain of life started before we get there, and then we get there and we continue it.
Is that your advice to everyone, is call 911 immediately? Oh
yeah. I mean, that's
saving time.
And I tell my parents all the time, Mom, just call 911. That's what they're there for. And she goes, well, why can't I ask you? And I go, because Mom, I don't have my X-ray vision glasses on today, Mom. You're killing me. And it's just, that's how it is. Yeah. Every firefighter, and I'm pretty sure every doctor or other EMS worker always gets their family members.
100%.
Neighbors come over. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, I mean, if you want me to fix that, I can super glue that shut. All right, do it. And the stuff they let me do at times, I'm like, oh, geez, don't tell anybody I did that. But
super glue on a wound.
But it's amazing how many people they don't call 911, and you have to say, hey, hang up, call 911. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
But call 911. And so it's just funny how it works out that way. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. When firefighters are like, they encounter the heat all the time, but what do they do, or what do you instruct or push that they can be prepared for that moment? Because, and I don't mean just the normal heat, because a real fire is pretty hot. How do you, and that doesn't just translate into the moment of an actual fire, but like in the heat of the moment, how do they prepare, and how do you help prepare them for those times that there is a real fire, there is a death, somebody does need that doll brought out to them? How do you prepare them for those moments?
It's a whole. So first of all, we train, right? What was it?
You had mentioned repetition.
Archimedes, the Greek poet. We don't rise to this special level of saving people. We fall to our training. We fall to our level of training. And because of that, we train all the time. We're always training for your emergency, so that when it happens, I don't want to say we're on autopilot, but there's no hesitation. Because when you hesitate, you leave room for doubt because you didn't train enough or you didn't understand enough. You're putting lives at risk. So we don't necessarily wait for our guys to train on their own, and a lot of them do anyway. We train them, and we're always training because we want to make sure that we can handle both mentally and physically the emergency that's happening.
Have you, in your career, and I don't mean just at Spokane Valley, but like, have you ever seen someone in the moment just completely go deers in the headlight?
Yes.
What do you do? And that's why you have two?
Some of that, though, there are some things that you see that some humans do to other humans, and it'll lock you up.
Melon?
It'll lock you up, and so I'll never fault a brother or sister firefighter that can lock up because of something they've seen.
Well, and you had mentioned earlier, like, you are the first line that goes into a home, and you see things before even officers do sometimes, the police officers. So it's like you come in and you see things that most of the outside world never ever sees.
Yeah. And they're really good officers, and they know the impact of what they're seeing. And I've had some good officers, and I remember they wouldn't let us in. And we're like, hey man, like that's the job. And they're like, no, the deal's done here. You know, the damage is done, meaning they're dead. Mm-hmm. And so this isn't something you need to see, you know, or experience yet. You're still new, you know, to stay outside.
Because it's a lot. I can't even imagine.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot, man. People, you know, I get it. People love watching Backdraft and all those other movies, and they're great, but they're movies. Mm-hmm. You know, when you experience those things for the first time, it takes its toll because now it's real. Now I got to figure out how to cope this because I don't want to take it home. And we still take it home.
How do you turn that off?
You know, I don't know. Some people are good at turning it off. Man, some people would just trip me out. I remember them and just go like, man, like, I don't know how they just turn that off and it doesn't seem to bother them all. And I've seen other people who just, you know, have a mental breakdown and they either have to retire or they have to take some time off. And again, to me, there's no sign of weakness. Yeah. Your bucket can only get so full, and then when it overflows, and then your body just does what your body does. You know, it's all reaction at that point. But I mean, we're trying to. This new fire academy or recruit academy we just started up last on the 16th, April 16th. You know, one of the things that we did, what we've been doing, integrating some mental health aspects, but we're really ramping that up now to really focus on getting them prepared. So your first day of maybe seeing something bad isn't as impactful.
Sure,
it's still going to be impactful.
Yeah, 100%.
But trying to prepare them mentally for it. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, and you can never prepare fully for that until it happens. So that's understandable. What you talked earlier about the 2 and 2 and the trust. How do you teach someone else to have the trust of the man or woman next to you walking to the house? Because your lives depend on each other. Is there something that you have learned or experienced through your career that you would tell a younger firefighter, like, this is how you gain the trust of the person next to you, or this is how you earn the respect of that person?
Yes. You have to, it's a family. So the fire department is a family, and then your individual station becomes even more of a family. And you generally start to see those people more than your own family. Mm-hmm. And you build those bonds. You hunt together, fish together, you know, make fun of police officers together. That's for my law enforcement guys. But
I do want to ask you about the police and the fire, like baseball games and things. I know you guys have competitions. There's a rivalry there that I would love.
There's not a rivalry would require them to be good, and they're not good. They're not good as firefighters. Everybody knows they want to be firefighters. But you have anyway. Yeah. You have to invest time in each other. And so
to become a family,
and training together is a big deal because, you may be good at searching and I may be better at, you know, cutting a hole in the roof. You can still cut a hole in the roof, mm-hmm. but I may be the go-to for that. So building that trust together, and being able to tease and joke, mm-hmm. and that's what builds that bond, and it's insane because I that's another thing I tell the recruits. I'm like, listen, when you go out to the field, if they're not teasing you, now I'm not talking about hazing,
right?
No hazing. I have zero tolerance for hazing, but if they're not teasing you or giving you a hard time, you better start asking questions, because that's a big deal in our community. Like if they're not having anything to do with you, then you're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, but if they're teasing you and they're messing with you a little bit, then that means that you
feel welcomed.
You're welcome.
They feel like you belong too. They're saving that seat at the table for you, and that's talking about like finding that really what Brene Brown talks about, the making people feel heard, seen, and valued, but then more like they belong to something. That's why I never wanted to leave my martial arts dojo. Like I wanted to be there every single day. It was a family and I didn't want to leave. You couldn't pull me away. And that was what I was so excited to be. And I'm assuming that has got to tickle you in a happy way where you see all the men and women under you that are bantering back and forth and they have a fun time and they're more family oriented. They want to go fishing together. They want to do family outings together.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to make you feel great as a leader.
Oh, absolutely. That bond is where it like a normal bond between two people. It's like, hey man, I'm gonna go pick a fight with this dude. All right, let's go. We're in it. Let's go. People don't understand when we're running into a burning building. That's where you really test that bond. That's a bond.
Yes.
That's hey man, we're running into this burning building, and I'm not leaving you behind. Just it's that you're fully invested in each other's safety, successes, the whole 9 yards. Like it goes so much further than just being, we're friends, cool, come on over and have dinner.
Yeah.
This is, hey, the roof's collapsing on us. Well, we're staying together. Let's go. It's I can't explain
but
it.
you can't
It's hard to
teach that.
explain.
You can't teach that.
No, you can't.
So how do you
train to it.
You train to it.
You train to it in the sense, as I train with you, I see. Look, it's like
micro
lowering
wins.
the veil. You're like lowering the veil, right? I'm showing you. Here's what I'm weak at. Here's what I'm good at. And at the same time, they're like, hey, here's how we can make that better. Here's how we get better at this. Hey, and just the training gets you to that bond, right? Because you can't hide if you're slow at doing something or you're weak at doing something.
Because it becomes apparent.
Right.
It's like
it becomes
obviously,
apparent, right? A perfect example is the difference between experience and being prepared, right?
Okay.
So if I had my choice, I'm always going to choose the prepared person because not all firefighting experiences are the same, but most importantly, everything that we do is perishable. So just because you've been a firefighter for 10 years, if you're not keeping up on your training, especially on the little things, then you're not going to be prepared, and your lack of preparation is going to impact or affect somebody else.
Consequences.
Right. So I always want the prepared person. I'd rather have the prepared person, even if they're a little bit green, than the person that's never trains, is never prepared.
No, green, you mean like a rookie
I've been doing
or
this
not
for a long time.
Not well seasoned? Is that what you mean by green?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anybody who's prepared, like the best asset would be a experienced prepared firefighter. Absolutely. That's what you want.
Okay.
I mean, period. But if I had to choose between one of those, it'd be always the prepared. I don't want anybody hesitating.
Well, when you say that, and let's say that you arrive on a site or something, or one of your team members, your captains is there, it's loud. It might be really late. People are tired. There's a lot of yelling and screaming. The sirens are going. How do you keep the calm in those chaotic moments? And how do you expect your teams and your firefighters to keep the calm? Is it the same thing that you were talking about getting those repetitions in and practicing?
Yes, to a point. Like,
because I would lose it. I'd be like, oh my gosh.
For me personally, I remember I would always look at my officer, and if I could see a little bit of worry on my officer, and I was like, I'm a little bit concerned. But if the officer wasn't like, and I'm not saying just kind of like dismissive, but was confident and was not screaming on the radio, not hyperventilating on the radio, just nice and calm, giving direction, telling you what to do, then it was like, I don't care. Yeah, I was good. But when you had an officer who was yelling and freaking out and panicking, it's like, dude, I do not want to follow that guy in there. I do not.
Yeah.
And everybody has them.
Yeah.
And, the only way to get out of that is you got to train your way out of it,
And when you see someone like that, I'm assuming that you or one of your team members takes them and says, we need to work on this.
I hope so.
Right.
I mean, because I'm not there anymore, but I have trust that our guys are
Of your group. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about like these chaotic moments, I'm assuming that the crowds are pretty. Who controls the crowds? Do people want to be involved and take video cameras out and do everything? Like, how do you control the environment that it's safe for everyone? Because you mentioned safety of the people inside, the property, but then you also had not lock down. That wasn't the word you used, but you have to control the environment.
Right. And so generally we have PD, law enforcement, for crowd control, keep them back. I mean, it's human nature. Everybody wants to see the quote unquote train wreck. I got to see this. I got to film this. I got a YouTube channel. I got to put this on. Which is all still kind of foreign to me. It's just not how I grew up.
Me either.
Yeah, I'm a Gen Xer, so we're the best. And so, in any case, sometimes we have to do it too. Yeah. I mean, sure. There's times where PD may not be able to get you soon enough, and you have to, take a position of safety, if you will, by saying, stay back. And there's sometimes that we're just like, we're not going into that scene until PD gets here and secures that
too
scene.
dangerous.
It's too dangerous.
Even in Spokane Valley, obviously different cities are different.
Yeah. When people are in a state of panic, it's just like being a lifeguard, when they teach you to be a lifeguard and you have that person you're trying to save that's in full panic mode in the water, you don't go up to them face to face. They're going to take you down and drown you. You come around from behind them and you take control of them. You seize them, you take control of them, and you get them out. And you can talk to them and stuff like that. But that's normal. People, that's that flight or fight. And they're not thinking appropriately. They're just thinking survival. And so people will do stuff. And so, like I said, we'll stay back and let law enforcement secure the scene before we go in, if we can.
If you can, to the best of the ability, obviously.
Right.
What is something that you would advise families to do to prepare for a moment like that in a fire? Like, are there 2 or 3 things that they need to do?
Oh, yeah. Smoke alarms.
That was one.
Well, I'm not off of that one yet.
Yeah.
So having a smoke alarm is good, but works even better is if you leave the batteries in the smoke alarm and then put them where they're supposed to be. You
mean like take them out because they're beeping and you just remove them?
Yep.
Okay.
I've seen people remove them. Sometimes they're sitting in a corner on the floor. They're on the table. The batteries are outside, and it's like they don't work that way.
Yeah.
So, you got to use them. That it is a huge.
Should you replace those batteries? My wife is going to love to hear this.
Every
year, no matter what. All of them same time.
No matter what. Replace all of them, no matter what. And if your next question is, why do they always go off at 2 a.m? I don't know.
Oh my God, I love that because that wasn't, but I do want to know that.
But they always do.
I
wish I could tell you. I don't know. But it's always at 2 or 3 a.m. Anyway, replace the batteries every year. Leave them up. Make sure they work. Check them. And leave them and let them do what they're supposed to do. They save lives. We have, I think we were in our 20s. We had a 20-some people we have saved that we know whose lives were saved because we put in those smoke alarms into their homes. So, I mean, it saves lives. Number 2, have an escape plan. Like, understand how to get out of your own house.
Yes.
Like, you'd be amazed. Like, I don't see a lot of them here, but some of the places I've lived, people have bars on their windows. And I remember with my kids, we had one of our houses had them. And I'm like, all right, how do we get out of here? And they were like, and you'd show them. And it's like, I'm like, you got to put your hands on this every day and understand what it is and how it works. Because this may be the only way out. So understand your home and how to get out of it. there should be 2 ways to get out of each room, through the window or through the door, so.
Well, and I think that's something people overlook all the time. Like they assume that they're going to know how to do it until it happens. And it's like being on an airplane. And the reason that they do the safety announcement is so that it's repetition, but most people they tune out. They don't even listen to it anymore. But it's like, it's there to pay attention and ask those kinds of questions.
Right. Remember we talked about that. Where do you rise to the level of superhero, or do you fall to your level of training? You fall to the level of training. And if you're not training, you're going to fall really far. And so knowing how to get out of your house. And that would be 2, and then like 2A is have a place where you're going to meet. If you're just going to bail or run out, or you only have one way out, which is the backside of the house, have a place to meet. No matter what happens, it doesn't have to be just a fire. It could be whatever. Here's where we're going to meet if something bad goes down.
So that how many of you there are.
Right.
Like everybody's safe, accountable.
Right.
And that's the most important thing, not whether or not your doll is inside or like the family is okay.
Right. Oh, yeah. And so that's 2A, and then 2B is get out. Like if your house is on fire, get out, stay out. Get out, stay out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we have that's you may have heirlooms and stuff like that are not replaceable, but what they're still just a thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's still a thing.
And it sucks to lose everything.
It does.
That's
what
my mom said. It's like it hurts, but
it's not
your
worth
life
dying
is
over.
more important.
Right. It's not worth dying over.
Right. And have you ever had to hold someone back?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. It shocked you how many people want to just go in there, and it's funny because it's not funny, but it's funny. You're just like, do you not see? Like we're on air, and we're in these special fire protective.
You're ninja suits.
Yeah. And it's like, and we're going in there, right? And why would you think it's okay to run in there? It's not okay. You're not.
But you had mentioned earlier, like, if it's safe, you will go back in and bring things out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so it's like maybe somebody can hear that and say, like, if it is safe, you are the paid professionals. You know what you're doing and can assess it. And so it's like you can go back in.
Because people don't realize, too, that it's not just like people say, well, I don't see any smoke. I get that you don't see smoke. Can you see the carbon monoxide?
The gases, right.
Sure. And you're like, nope, you can't see them, you can't smell them, but they're there, And so there's a piece of it like, well, the fire's out. True. But it still could be off gassing. Like, and that's why we're still wearing masks, because we don't want to get cancer. We don't want to have an issue. So we're keeping you out for a reason. It's not because we don't want you to go in your own home. Yeah. it's not safe yet.
Yeah. I love that. What about animals?
But hold on. The third thing, remember I didn't finish the third.
You did 2A, 2B,
and
2C.
And the third one, number 3 is having a defensible safe space around your home. Listen, we're in the urban interface. Mm-hmm. We are where the the community and the wildland fires, where it all meets. It all comes together. And so really focusing on keeping your property savable during a wildland fire is big. It's a big deal. Because
you mean by like getting your outside sprinklers going, have like a little zone that might protect,
cutting back the shrubs and bushes and things of that nature, but keeping it clean so that when there's a fire, it may burn just real quickly and burn out. But it's not going to burn your house down. It's not going to destroy the whole neighborhood.
Because you were prepared.
Right, you're prepared, right? So...
and that doesn't take a lot.
No, it's just cleanup. I mean, maybe once a month to go over it again and make sure it's all good. But we are, like, they're saying we're a little bit of a drought. I don't believe it. I come from New Mexico and Arizona.
Sure.
This isn't a drought. This is heaven. Yeah. All this water and greenness. But
But it's dry enough to have a fire.
We're going to have some major wildland fires again this year. We always do.
Well, did you guys get pulled into the Medical Lake fires?
We did.
Okay.
We did.
And
The Gray Fire and then the Elk Fire as well.
Is that just like an all hands on deck?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when LA's fires were going down, do you guys ever go down and help out?
Yep. We went last year to California to help them out. But people from California always need help.
Maybe.
Not just fires. Just saying.
Yeah.
But we had 2 guys that actually lost their homes in the Gray Fire. One of those guys was actually trying to save another person's house while his house was burning down.
Did he know? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awful.
But he put the job first. Service before self.
That is the epitome of what it is. Service before self.
Yep. Captain Dwayne Hughes.
Oh my goodness. That's a mic drop moment on that one. I love that.
Yep.
What is something that you would do at your home besides all of those things? Do you ever become complacent yourself? Or are you always walking around and being like, okay, we do need to do this? And do you have a checklist that goes through your mind? Or do you become complacent, even as the chief?
I'm kind of more complacent, but I'll say why. Because when I get home, I have a boss too.
The Cobra.
The Cobra.
Okay.
My boss, she tells me, hey, you need to get this done. You need to do that stuff. You need to do this. So I get on those things. So I go on cruise control, but I stay in my lane and do what I'm told. And then my wife enjoys doing a lot of that stuff. She really enjoys, doing the grass and her flowers and all that stuff. So, but she was a military brat too. So she's squared away. So there's not much to worry about there.
But that's a team. That's 2 people.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can depend on each other. She knows your strengths and weaknesses.
Oh yeah.
And let's talk about that for a second, because how important is it to have someone, a spouse or the support system when you do go home that you can talk to or is there? How important is that for firefighters to have?
It's so important to us that if we have a really bad call and guys are going home, or we're like, by choice, they're like, you know what, I call it a mental cigarette. I need a mental cigarette. I need to go home. Or we say, hey, you know what, you need to go home. If they don't we make sure one of our first questions is, who's at home? Well, nobody. I live by myself. Cool. You're not going home. You're going to stay with us. You're going to go with so-and-so or something of that nature, but we're not going to leave you by yourself. We're not going to do that. And so that's important to us.
Well, and that's team, right?
Yeah.
And that is obviously the community that you've built. Yeah. And you had
our
mentioned
union's really good about this too. Our union really, like, there's a point where we check on our people, but I'll tell you, Local 876, the Spokane Valley Firefighters Union, they're really
have your back.
Good about that. Yeah.
Really,
they help out a lot about that. They don't just help out our community; they help out other firefighters too. They take care of each other.
And that's so important as the community and bridges that as well. But I think that having someone to be able to talk to and to go home with, because you do need that, because nobody can do it alone.
Yeah.
And your service is 2 and 2. And obviously it's a team. It's not just 2 people. But that's so important. I kind of want to wrap up with a final thing, and that is about your selection process, and because I want to go back to that. And I know that you're doing selection or classes basically yearly or something. You have specifically. Correct. So a lot of people have missed that right now. But in the selection process, what would you tell someone listening right now? Like, if you want to be a firefighter, I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I don't care what your background is. You're poor. I don't care if you got your EMT license. I don't care. What would you tell them to do to prepare to come on board, and what are you looking for?
You got to be mentally tough. Like I can't just overemphasize being mentally tough. Everybody's mentally tough until like Mike Tyson used to say, everybody's prepared to get punched in the face, and then it's just about, how do I survive? Mm-hmm. And so there's thinking you're mentally tough, and then there's preparing yourself and being mentally tough. And sometimes it's doing the things that that may scare you a little bit to kind of build up some of that mental strength,
Confidence, right?
Yeah, working out. If you don't work out, like people don't understand. We're in the service industry. That's who we are, and as much as even I hate to, like my car, right? I don't ever just jump into my car, turn it on, and then step on the gas 100 miles an hour. But that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what firefighters do every day. EMTs, police officers, that's what we do every day. We could be sitting there 1 minute having a coffee, and the next minute we're literally running 100 miles an hour to get to our vehicle and then driving that vehicle that way. It seems like at times, but you got to be in shape, physically fit. It means something. When I see somebody who's out of shape and they are in public safety, that bothers me. I can't deny it. It bothers me because when I see that you're not in shape, then you're telling me the job isn't that important to you,
Or that they can trust you.
and your members aren't that. The people working to your right and left are not that important to you, because I can only go as far as your air in your tank will let us, right? Because we're all on air, right? We're going in together. We're on, whether we're two together or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. We're only as good as the weakest link. And if you choose, well, I don't run, I don't work out, I don't do anything except for I put me first, and you're that person, and we're trying to get to something to accomplish our mission to put out the fire or find somebody or get to somebody in need, and we're halfway there, and you're out of air, you're pinging, and we all have to leave. Not necessarily, right? If there's 3 of us, we got to leave. If there's 2 of us, we got to leave. But if there's 4 of us, we can split the crew. But the point is we tell people all the time, be in shape. Be in shape. Day one, you're coming in, we're running and gunning, and still people don't listen. And so it's not unheard of to terminate somebody on the first day, second day, third day, because they can't do PT. And it's like
they run out of gas.
Or they can't they just can't do it. And you're like, we told you, months ago, like we've given you the answers to the test.
Yeah.
But I can't hold your hands. This is part of that trust. I have to trust that you're an adult and that you're going to come in ready to go. And when you don't, then I go, okay, is that something that I want our citizens to deal with for the next 30 years? Somebody who's not motivated to be ready. If you can't be ready to be in shape with a time frame that gives you plenty of time to be ready, and that's, to me, is easy, what are you going to do when it gets ugly?
Absolutely. What is one thing that you think that being a firefighter and being the chief and all along that career has taught you about leadership that you would want other leaders to understand that maybe they wouldn't know about because they haven't experienced your kind of leadership?
And we talked about this a little bit before, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump back into it.
Yeah.
Being a situational leader. And what that is for me is,
and we had talked about this prior to going on a recording,
right? Yeah. Is reading the situation and letting it dictate what kind of leader they need. Not everybody needs me standing right on their heels saying, do this, do this, do that. Are there some people? Yeah. But if somebody's like, hey, I just need a transformational leader. All right, let's do that.
Let's speak that language.
Yep. I need a transactional leader. I need, whatever it is. I know what to provide to get them, to motivate them, and to get them to that finish line for both our benefits. Sometimes some people need just a, hey, great job. Other people need a, hey, let's sit down and talk about what happened. Did you consider this? Like, there's different areas. The one leader that I'm not is a servant leader. And And I know that is like the go-to answer for most people when they're asked during interviews, what kind of leader you are? I'm a servant leader. And people ask me, and I go, I'm a situational leader. And they're like, you're not a servant leader? And I go, no, I'm not. Well, why aren't you a servant leader? I go, because there's only so much you can give. And then there's nothing left to give. And then what are you going to do? Because it's like, being in the woods and you feed the bear. The bear's going to keep coming back because you're a servant leader. I'm just going to keep serving you and serving you. Now there's no food left. Well, I guess you're on the menu. The bear's going to eat you because you've taught that bear that
there's a food source.
I'm the food source. Like teach a person to fish versus feeding them a fish.
I love that.
And so, to me, a servant leader just gives and gives and gives, but at some point, there's nothing left to give. And so, I find that giving our people skin in the game, or allowing for skin in the game, or saying you need to have skin in the game, goes a lot further in the success, because one of the biggest struggles I see in today's world is the entitlement.
Sure.
Nobody wants to work, but everyone wants their trophies. And so,
and this is not a business to just get a trophy.
No, I would even say none of it. There's no area, in general that. But it's sad. That's where we're at. Where I don't understand it. I just I don't. But there's a lot of entitlement today, and it's sad.
So if you were to fix that, okay, and if you were to say, okay, let's solve that, is it through public service announcements like Smokey the Bear? Is it like in G.I. Joe when they have that public service? Do you remember that back in the day when like they would say, don't touch that hot door handle, right? Like, kids, get down, right? Is there some way that we can get the community more involved to understand, like, hey, as we are here, and the way that we can look at firefighting, the way that we can look at leaders, and we can look at the entitlement, like, what would you solve? What was your magic wand be like for that?
Man, I don't know. I don't. I'm just trying to. For me, like right now, with the firefighters, it's having an intentional culture, right? So it's not letting just the firefighter happenstance stumbling onto a successful culture and just hoping to be lucky that they turn out really good. We really focus on having an intentional culture. And if you're not, then you're just, you get what you get. So I guess the overall would be, I guess it's the same blueprint for society as a whole.
Yeah. But you can only control your environment and your community,
right.
And you've done an outstanding job with that. And you have a group and a family that is surrounded, that looks up to you, and you trust enough to be able to give the keys to the car, and they go off and they do their own thing. You don't have to be in the room.
And I thank you for that, but I'm lucky enough that they allow me to have that trust. And so, I mean, you're only a leader if you have people following you, right? Sometimes it's with the pitchfork, but and I hope I'm not there yet. But I enjoy leading the men and women of the Spokane Valley Fire Department, and I mean I love my board of fire commissioners who have done just a phenomenal job of letting me be the fire chief. I mean it's amazing. It's like do what we paid you to do, and so having that trust is a pretty big deal. So I'm very thankful that the commissioners give me that. I'm very thankful for our citizens who stand with us, no matter what. They're always with us,
backing you.
Yeah, they're always backing us. I came from a place where they were, stealing stuff off our trucks, shooting at us, trying to hurt us in some way, make a false call so that they can come in and steal out of the fire station. like I came from that environment up to here where it's just they love on you, and it's like, man, like there's times where I have to be like, don't be so negative, dude. They're just loving people.
Yeah.
Like there's not a side, something going on
MO,
the side.
right?
Yeah. But you kind of get used to that, where your head's always on pivoting around, looking and making sure someone's not trying to sneak up on me.
So how can the community, you mentioned that, how can the community help you guys? Like, is that visiting
if you see something, say something.
Okay.
Put Pulse Point on your phone. Put the Pulse Point app on your phone and help us save a life.
Wow.
Come save a life with us. You don't have to be a firefighter to save a life. You can do that right now. Download Pulse Point. Save a life. Like I already talked about, when I talk to my firefighters, and again, I say my firefighters, and that's not fair, our firefighters, because they're your firefighters too. When I talk to our firefighters, I talk about having value within our community. Our community wants value. Okay. Now, as a fire department, we provide a service, right? We have a product that we're trying to sell, and that is, putting water on a fire, putting a Band-Aid on a cut. But that's not value. That's just a product. And our people, our citizens, they want that product. But what they want more than that is value. And value is our community risk reduction. It's our fire prevention division. It's inspections. It's education. It's hands-only CPR. It's stop the bleed. It's junior fire marshal pro. It's helmets. It's all those things, because what they do is they say, hey, you're important enough to us that we don't even want an emergency. We don't want you to suffer a fire. We don't want you to suffer a medical emergency. And that's true value. Oh. That's true value. That's what we're in the value business, but we do sell a product, and we're good at that product as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
So,
how can people find out more and become more involved with you? I know that you guys have certain events coming up, maybe the summer at your new stations, or not with your new stations, but you have new rigs and new trucks.
Yes,
and then talk about the levy. Like, how can people in our community support you? And this goes out nationally and internationally. How can people help fire departments in general?
Well,
besides downloading Pulse app.
Yeah. We're very engaged with our community. And when we say we want you to come, we want you to come. Like, we do all sorts of stuff. We have our community affairs division is second to none. We have a director, Patrick Erickson, who happens to be here with me today. But, understanding the value of that division, right? Because sometimes you only get one shot at selling yourself. Sometimes you only get a billboard yourself one way. And
that's in life,
right,
not just for the fire department.
Right. I've seen it where people, roll up or the fire department comes up and they're like, wow, and you're having to run back and get equipment, run back and get, EMS stuff, whatever. And they're like, really? You guys are the professionals. So you only have one your first time to really sell yourself and say, we're your fire department, and we're the best. And community affairs really helps us. And Patrick's background in news and social media and all those.
He's not Gen X.
Wonderful outlets. Oh, he's a Gen Xer. Oh yeah.
He's just learned to go.
He's a Gen.
He jumped on the bandwagon.
He's one of those. He's a Gen X-er. So he's advanced. Gotcha. A for advanced.
Tell me about the stations with the new trucks where people.
Yeah. So what we do is we put everything out there. We want people to come. We're your investment, man. Understand your taxes. We're a junior taxing fire district. We're your fire department. We work for you. And yeah, I mean, understand that we're not expecting you to come to our station at 2 a.m. because it's like our house, you know. Some people don't realize that. Yeah, we're like
living there.
We're living there like a regular family. You know, there's like a, believe it or not, there's like a mama. You know, there's a daddy. There's a cook. You know, the kids got to clean. You know, so we're very regimented. We do all those things, but we want you there. Come see your investment. Come see us train. You know, just don't come when we're during a response, you know,
right?
Just pull to the right,
or at 2 a.m.
pull to the right,
pull
stop,
to the right,
and let us go. But we really focus on social media so that our community is engaged and involved. And what we have coming up right now, here shortly, is we're going to have 3 new fire engine push-in ceremonies, and it's for fire stations 3, 6, and 7. So those be coming up, and we're going to be, you know, putting them all over social media to have our community come out and support it, be a part of it, you know.
And I'll include links to those
yeah,
social media outlets
absolutely,
so they can find out more.
Yes, sir. And we have more new units coming out as well. And they're just, you know, they're tools. They're equipment and tools that help us respond and help us to save lives. And so, but more importantly, they're part of your investment. Come see your fire truck, your neighborhood, you know, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but it's friendly neighborhood fireman, but it's really fireman
my
and
son
firewomen.
believes that you're Spider-Man, like legit. He loves you guys.
But it is fireman and firewoman,
yes,
or just firefighter. Because man, I say it all the time. I don't care what color you are. I don't care who you like, who you love on. All I care is you put in your community first, service before self, and you make that commitment. You don't just say it, live it. Live that commitment of being prepared and responding. First in, last out. The other big thing coming up for us is it's that time of year for our new maintenance and operations levy, which is a special levy. And it's every 4 years. And by law, we have to say it's a new levy. We can't say it's just, we're just, you know, redoing it. And we've been doing it for 30 plus years. Something I think the community is pretty used to, but it's still important for us to get all that information out there. And actually, frankly, we love doing it because it gives us opportunity to show them, you know, where we're at, benchmark us. Yeah. Here's where we're at. Here's the rest of the country, and here's where your fire department is. Here's
and
how
this is what your investment is getting.
This is what your investment has gotten you, and so we actually love doing it because it really gets us in there, gets us in their faces, and we hit everything. You know, neighborhoods, schools. You know, elks, moose. What else? Rotary. You name it, the VA. I mean, we go everywhere. Mm-hmm. I'll talk to anybody who wants to listen to me. You know, and not everybody wants to listen, but that's okay. I'm still going to tell you about your fire department and how good we are. And so anyway, we have that levy, and we'll really focus on getting it out there. And start hitting hitting the pavement with it.
So people better understand what the money's going to. And it's not like you guys are pocketing it, and it's not like you're frivolously spending it on 5 jaws of life versus 1. It is for us.
Yeah, and I'll give you a perfect example. When we 4 years ago, when we did a levee lid lift first, right? Because what we saw was we had become too dependent on our special excess levy, and that's dangerous because that levy is only for 4 years and it requires a supermajority vote. And so if you lose that, we were going to lose 65% of our fire department.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So we said, hey, we need to do a levy lid lift and bring our at that time it was $1.02 or $1.03 up to $1.50, which was the max on per thousand assessed valuation, and then we could readjust our excess levy if needed. And so the citizens got our back, and they got us the levy lid lift, and we ended up with an extra $13.6 million
surplus.
Now, did we keep it? No, sir, we did not. We didn't collect that money at all because we didn't need it.
But that goes to you building trust with the community too, right?
And,
like there's no, you're not hiding things. So when you ask for money, it's either really needed or if it is asked and you get it more than you give back.
We're totally transparent, 100%. Everything's on our website, and we told our citizens, look, if this deal puts us in the surplus, we're not going to collect it. We will reduce it out of the special levy. But that money's going to stay in your pockets because we're not here to make money. This isn't a making money business operation. We're here just to keep the doors open and make sure that we take care of our citizens. So we did not collect. And our board of fire commissioners were like, awesome. They're like, well, let's give it back. Like, don't even collect it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. So, I mean, it was like
unanimous.
Yeah, it wasn't even. It was like weird, It's like nobody had to be talked into doing it. It was just like a matter of fact. Hey, we're not collecting this, right? Yeah, we're not collecting.
All right, thing
let's
to do
it. And so, Anyway, so 6 months after the levy lid lift, we did a new M&O as well, and we were able to lower that a little bit. And we're always going to be somewhat dependent on M&O excess levy. Maintenance and operations is M&O.
I didn't know what that was. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
The sad truth is the state of Washington doesn't, the max for a regular fire levy, which is your normal taxes, is $1.50 per thousand on your assessed valuation. So that's it, $1.50. When I left Arizona 5+ years ago, the max in Arizona was $3.25.
Wow. So it's way different.
It's way different, way lower. And so it's frustrating because it's like, listen, especially in Washington where the dollar doesn't go that as far as like some other states, $1.50 is not much. It's a very small amount. And to stand up the best fire department you can, that's a tough ask, And so to me, there's a lot of praise goes to the men and women, uniform and non-uniform employees of the Spokane Valley Fire Department, to include our commissioners, because of the commitment that they do, all the extra stuff they do, and they don't get paid for, because they're all about service before self. So, in any case, that $1.50 max, that's a tough one. So not most, every large fire department in this state has to have another income to help
offset that,
operate, to help continue operations. And for us, we chose the maintenance and operations special excess levy, and that money allows us to pay for capital items.
Do you ever have donations? Do people ever donate to the Spokane Valley Fire Department?
Not. They do food and stuff, and we love it. And a lot of that is
my wife. Blame my wife on that. She loves doing that.
A lot of people that we do save, they will bring, especially during the holidays. And so, to those people that bring it, please
keep bringing
it. Well, and don't skip on the fat in it. We're not interested in the low fat cookies. We like those fat cookies. They're good. But that's for another conversation.
Oh my God, I love it.
We enjoy that good stuff.
Well, and a big shout out to our community in Spokane Valley and the board and then your union, because everyone has your back. And you have done an outstanding job.
I have theirs as well,
100%. That's why you're in the position that you're in. And you have a team behind you that believes in you, and you believe in them. And it is absolutely like, you guys are, I'm so happy that you are open-doored, and that like you make a difference for my child, my son who loves it, and my daughter who loves you guys. And it's like being able to deliver those cookies, the non-fat-free ones, and delivering those. It's just, you're making a difference in this world, Frank. And I am honored that you took a few moments out of your time today.
No problem.
And you brought Patrick along, who's a Gen X. So that's totally cool. But thank you so much. And also putting me at ease that this is the place to have a heart attack. So I love that. But I look forward to seeing what you're doing and everything with the new trucks, and then with the levy passing. And I'm wishing you the best luck. And hopefully we're in the value business, and we're not in the putting out the fire business, because you don't really want those to happen.
Yep. But people go, well, don't, and a lot of times it's the younger firefighters. Oh, when are we going to have the fire? It's like, well, we don't want one. They're like, but I signed up to be a firefighter. Yes, you did. And we still don't want fires.
No.
We don't want fires. And so, that's the business that we're in. That's why they call it firefighting, so they're a joy, it's nice having the young kids around, especially like, I'm one of the older, crusty, saltier guys. So it's nice to see that smile of, I just love to be here. I don't care, what I'm doing outside. I'm a firefighter for the Spokane Valley Fire Department.
And you're good at it. And you're a great leader.
And it means something here. So
it really does. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing.
I appreciate you. Thank
Patrick,
you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here
Thank
today.
you, Blue. Thank you for having us.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks. If this episode brings you value, or you know someone who could benefit from it, the best way to support the show is by sharing and subscribing. It's completely free and helps us reach more people. And if you have any questions, feedback, or guests you'd like me to interview, drop a comment while you're there. I'd love to hear from you. And most importantly, thank you for tuning in. And let's continue sharing optimism and positivity.